Greetings, loves. This is Annette of AnnetteLeonard.com, back with Chronic Wellness. So last month was my birthday, and in honor of my birthday, a friend of mine gifted me with an astrological reading. And I'd never had one of those before. It was enjoyable and interesting and engaging. It was many things. And the astrologer said to me, "You are someone who has real skill at processing and a real interest in processing. And that is a gift, but as with all gifts, can sometimes be a detriment." Meaning, and that sometimes you get stuck in the processing, and particularly as it relates to cycles. And so at the end of a year, at the end of a relationship, at the end of any closing or process, event, you can tend to get stuck in the processing at the end of things. And she said, "I want to offer you a metaphor," which I love a metaphor, particularly if it's very visual, because that's how I'm wired. And she said, "I want you to imagine yourself in a room with a door in front of you that is closed, that represents the future, and a door behind you that's almost closed, and that represents the past." And she was like, and so think about how you tend to not really close that door behind you by continuing to think about things, continuing to argue with the past, continuing to not lay down what has happened. And she said, however, if you will just go ahead and open that door in the future, the wind of opening that door in front of you will close the door behind you. And it really resonated with me, this thought that the more actively I am pursuing what is in front of me, the more possible it is to surrender, release, disengage from the things that have ensnared me behind me. And naturally, in life, and certainly for this podcast, tend to put the frame of chronic pain and chronic illness on so many of these metaphors. And for me, this one speaks to how difficult it is to let go of who I once was, what I looked like, who I was in the world, what I was capable of doing. And as I've spoken to many times here, how difficult it is at varying points along the line, and oftentimes depending on the severity of my illness, to imagine a future for myself, to think about what is possible, what do I have to look forward to, what's next. And I want to suggest to you again here that while we've been conditioned to think about the grand and the magnificent, the next career move, the next trip across the world, that maybe what's next is, I want to listen to the entirety of that true crime podcast series. I want to read my way through the works of Jane Austen. I want to finish that coloring book that somebody gave me last year. These don't have to be big, hairy, audacious goals, as they're sometimes called. They just have to be one step, the next thing, one foot in front of the other. They just have to be, next week I'm gonna text a friend. I'm going to reestablish a connection. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to menu plan instead of just forgetting about it until I'm so hungry I'm cramming garbage in my mouth. And allow the wind of opening that door, of unlocking that next key to showing up for yourself, to be the wind that releases you from the things that have kept you bound to the past. All right, you know I always love to hear your thoughts. So as ever, tell me, what about this resonates? What about it doesn't? If it feels timely, if it's something you're already doing. And I want to forecast for you that I have interviewed 2 authors whose books I will be excited to tell you about. Both are related to one specifically chronic pain and the other chronic illness, specifically multiple sclerosis, and experiences related to meditation and Tai Chi and improving our life and our experiences of chronic illness. And I have an extra copy of each book. And I would like very much for you to enter a giveaway to get these books. So the way that you can go about doing that is you can leave me a rating or a review on one of my audio podcast platforms. And then once you have done that, you can leave me a comment in my YouTube thread or over on Instagram or in my email, hello@annettelenard.com, telling me you've done that. And I will also have ways that you can enter multiple times if you are so inclined to get your name in more than once for the drawing. And I'm going to make just one whole video about how you can do this, and I'll also type it up in the show notes. So please enter for a giveaway for those books. I believe that I will have the drawing on April 18th, 2022. So you have a little bit of time, and as ever, if you have not liked or subscribed to these videos or this audio podcast, wherever you are tuning in, I'd be so grateful if you would. It really does help me broaden my reach, which is always what I'm looking for. So thanks so much for your time and attention. I love you, and until we're together again, be well.